Hello, my name is John McCurdy, and I'd like to thank you for your interest in my work. If you enjoy this copyrighted recording, you can find it and much more on my website at johnmccurdy.com. Now I invite you to get comfortable, relax, take a deep breath, and enjoy the program. I am that I am. Master John of Magical Service. What does that mean? John asks. Well, magical service. It's about living the magical life. Doesn't actually mean anything. We just like the sound of it. Master John. Oh, that means so much. It means that I speak to you now. Not just as the human you know as John, but as the soul, the divinity of this one you know as John, as the wisdom combined from well over 1,000 lifetimes on earth. That's why I call myself Master John. My human doesn't so much go around calling himself Master John because, he doesn't often feel like that. But he's learning. I'm encouraging him to take that on more and more. I'm not a master over anybody. I'm a master of life, of consciousness. As my human John, he's a master carpenter. He's a master troubleshooter. He's a master of many things in life. And I, as his soul, as his divinity, I am a master of life. I am, you could say, a realized master, an enlightened master. And here we are combined together. The consciousness of the human living in this time frame known as John, combined with the divinity, the wholeness, and the wisdom of all that I am. What an incredible time you're living through right now. The apocalypse, the great revealing. It's been prophesied for eons of time by so many. It has come and gone. Well, now let's say it has truly begun. This great event on March 22, 2023. Yeah. There wasn't much happened on that day in the human world. And yet, everything changed. Especially within you. Everything changed. Now, so many of you, including John, have been feeling, you can feel that something incredible has happened. Something incredible is happening inside of you. But the mind can't define it. You can't put words on it for the most part. You just know that it's there. The human, gets very confused because things aren't working the way they used to work. Seems like, to John, it seems in a way like things are falling apart, and yet he knows they're not. You are changing. John is changing because, this great apocalypse wasn't about the end of the world. It was the second coming of the Christ. Nothing less. And you know what happened at the first coming 2,000 years ago? The people thought, the prophecies seemed to foretell that this one you call Jesus, we call him Yeshua because that was his real name, Yeshua ben Joseph. And he's standing right here beside me, smiling. He says, finally, now it is finished. To quote the famous line from the cross he died on 2,000 years ago. Now it is finished, he says. But as you know, the people expected him to come and take over the government, to be the king they longed for who would save them from the misery of their lives and from their enemies. But that wasn't what he was here for at all. He came with something so much better, something so much deeper. He came to show you who you are. People weren't ready. A few were. Most weren't. Even his followers, his disciples, they took that message. They took his message. They caught little bits and pieces of it, and they took those and distorted them. Created this whole story that he had somehow come to save them from their sins, to save them from the wrath of God. Well, he did. But you see, God is you. And the only one you need to be saved from, ever, is you. Your own forgetfulness, your own feelings of shame and unworthiness. That's all. That's all. You see, you came to Earth so long ago in human terms, only a breath ago in our terms, but you came. And in order to be in this experience, it was necessary for you to forget who you were. You came here specifically to discover who you are. You asked that grand question, who am I? Oh, and out of that question came this whole experience of Earth and of life on Earth, because you said, I want to know myself in every way possible. So you came here and you've been living. Oh, in order to know yourself, you had to know the dark as well as the light. So you dove deep into lifetimes and lifetimes of misery and pain and suffering, guilt and shame. And you gradually began to find your way back out. Till now, here you are. If you are watching this or listening to this or reading this, then you have mostly, if not completely, found your way back out. Now you are beginning to realize who you are. And now that veil of forgetfulness is no longer needed. Now you are you are remembering. You see, when you came to Earth, you found that you couldn't stay here. The least little thing would happen and you'd pop right back out. It was so much more comfortable being home with your soul. You'd pop back out of whatever body you were in. And so over time, we developed this veil. It's a function of your mind, actually. This veil that would block out your memories. This mind that would distract you from anything outside of the human reality. Or as John is reminding us, perhaps it's better to say, of anything inside your human reality, because it's all inside. There is no outside of you. It's all inside of you. Well, but you could say that human reality, it's a little corner of you. Kind of like your little toe. But we digress. So we developed this mind of yours. We gave it the job of distracting you from yourself. We've talked about this before in some of our earlier messages, so we won't go into details now. You created this veil to help you forget, so that you could stay in your body for as long as possible and have this experience in all of its depth and drama and trauma. There was just one problem. In the forgetting of who you are, you lost trust in yourself. You began to doubt yourself. And every time something happened that hurt, you felt like you had failed. And you took on guilt and shame. Every time someone around you that you loved got hurt, you blamed yourself. And you took on more guilt and shame. It was all because you forgot who you were. You forgot who they were. But here we are at the great revealing, the second coming of the Christ. You see, the Christ isn't a person. Yeshua was a human who took on who you created with this Christ, crystal, whatever you want to call it, energy, consciousness. He came in because you set this up. It was your plan. Plan that began long, long ago to set you free of this veil, to find the way out, to bring hope. For you see, in forgetting who you were, you lost hope. That was the biggest loss of all. You lost hope. As far as you could tell, you were this miserable human animal. And you couldn't seem to get anything right. Occasionally you would, and you'd have a joyful time, and then you'd wonder why it didn't last. So you lost hope. Oh, from the other side of the veil, we watched. We tried different things to bring you hope, to show you you're not lost. You're just having an experience. Finally, we hit upon this plan, and a whole group of us, of you, we created this being. You see, you are a creator. You, each one of you are the one true God of you. You are the creator. You created all of this. Everything that you can perceive and so much more. You created it. Not some old man in the sky that demands vengeance and obedience. It was you. And as we discovered that knowledge, this group of us, as we began to remember, mostly in the other dimensions, mostly not as humans, that we had humans here on earth. But as we, through what our humans were doing, began to realize a little bit of who we are, we took that knowledge, each one of us, we took some of that knowledge, some of our own consciousness, and we put it into this new being. One of us had dare volunteer, you call Mother Mary, birthed this new child onto earth. And he came bearing that Christ energy, that crystal consciousness. He came with the knowing of who he was. Dear friend, you might have noticed, if you were involved at all in Christianity in this lifetime, you might have noticed that the one called Jesus never, ever called himself the Son of God. He didn't argue when other people called him that, because what was the point? He called himself the Son of Man. Well, one meaning of that was that he was calling himself. He was putting himself on the same level as the beggars outside the city, because that's what they were called, the sons of man, in that culture. But now you know another meaning also. He was your son. He was my son. He was our son. Truly, truly, the Son of Man. And the Son of God, because that's who you and I are. We were just barely beginning to understand that. So he came bearing that knowledge. He came to show us, the humans, to remind us of who we are. It didn't work out so well because humans weren't really ready. Even his disciples, they took that message. After his death, he didn't die to save anybody from their sins. The only sin is the shame inside of you. He did come to save you from that by showing you a different perspective on why you're here and who you are. But he didn't come to satisfy the vengeance of some god. Not at all. He said, the kingdom of heaven is right here, inside of me and inside of you. Now, he died because the people weren't ready. And partly because he wasn't ready for them. He did some things you might call foolish, like tangling with the priests in the temple and showing up their hypocrisy. And so they didn't have very much choice but to make an example of him. Otherwise, they would lose all of their power. That would have been a good thing, but they weren't ready. Even you weren't ready at that time for that. So they killed him. Well, the good thing is that it was such a dramatic thing that affected so many people so deeply that it planted a seed. His disciples, his followers, they went on to create churches, a whole religion that sprang up, supposedly based on his teachings, but it was actually based on the teachings of the disciples who didn't really understand what he'd been talking about. So they created this whole story about how he came to save you from your sins, save you from the vengeance of this grand, vengeful God. And the whole Christian religion was born. Over time, it became even more distorted. It had such a profound effect on people because it gave them hope, even a little bit. Just the idea that someone might be standing between them and that vengeful, hateful God that everybody told them was such a loving God. But if it would strike you dead in an instant if you displeased him enough. So just the idea that someone perhaps had created a buffer between you and that God. Oh, it brought so much hope. So even in this distortion, the seed was planted and the seed began to grow. The seed of hope. Well, so many of you were part of those churches. You helped to begin them, to build them. You spent so many lifetimes in those churches, as I did. Oh, so many lifetimes. Trying to understand, trying to find the better way. And along the way, hurting so many people. That's been such a big issue for me. For my human John, as he remembers those times. As he remembers the feelings of having the best, the highest intentions, and feeling that the only way to serve God was to enforce the rules on the people who were breaking them. Shame doesn't go a lot deeper than that. So, through my human John, we're working through that. We are remembering that it was all part of a plan, a grand, beautiful dream that began long, long ago. Long, long ago. The times that you refer to as the times of Atlantis. That's when we began to actively work on it. It came from even before then, but That's when we began to actively work on this problem of how do we bring hope back to humanity? Because we were getting stuck in the shame. You see, you don't need to go through 1,000 or 2,000 lifetimes on Earth to discover who you are, to answer that grand question of who am I? You can do that in 2 or 3 lifetimes, maybe even 1 or 2, except for one problem. When you get stuck in the shame, it stops everything. And you start just cycling through lifetime after hopeless lifetime. That's why so many of you have been here so long, so many lifetimes. Oh, now you're here. You're so tired. It's not just the human that's tired. It's the soul is tired in a way. It's been such a long journey, such a long and hopeless journey. But here you are. You found your way through. And you found a way to bring hope to humanity. So many of you resonate with this religion of Christianity. Many of you hate it also because it's so distorted. But I ask you to feel into it. Feel deeper. Feel the hope that it brought. That it still brings to people even in its distortion. Yes, it holds them in their shame also. And that will soon be changing. It already is changing. But it brought hope. Especially in what you call your dark ages. John used to think that those dark ages came about because Christianity got so distorted. But no, those dark ages came about because there were getting to be so many humans on earth who didn't have hope, who were lost, so lost in the darkness of despair and shame. Christianity was one of the ways that you brought hope back to yourselves and to Christianity and to the world, to humanity. And in that hope, tiny as it was, that hope you began to open up. The world began to open up, to look outside of itself, to discover that it was, rather than being this hopeless center of everything, it was just a little part of a grand universe. You opened up. You became scientists. You began to study life and to see a new beauty in life. All because of that little bit of hope. Oh, there's still so much hopelessness. on earth, among humans. But that's beginning to change. Again, because of you, because of your work. Oh. For so long, John wondered why his life didn't seem to be going anywhere. He could never seem to be successful at much of anything. Now he understands. He wasn't supposed to be. He found that he knew so much. He understood so much about life. He thought he should teach that, but he couldn't find a way. Now he understands it wasn't time. Because he was busy. I was so busy in the other realms, in those inner dimensions, putting together the finishing touches on this grand plan to bring hope back to humanity. For you see, the time has come. The seed that Yeshua planted, it was time for it to bloom. You've been nurturing it for so long. It's been growing. And now you could say the bush that it became is covered in buds. And they're beginning to open. Some of them already have. But we had to do a lot of work in the other dimensions, the other realms. We don't have words for what that means. But we had to do a lot of work to prepare for this opening. And now here we are. Now John understands why his human life didn't go the way he expected. Because that's not why he was here. He was here for this. See, some of us needed to be, to work on both sides of the veil. Well, John's mind, his human, didn't understand that. Couldn't comprehend what we together were doing on the other sides of the veil. Now he knows. He doesn't know the details. They don't fit in the mind. But he understands. As you do, if you are here. So here you are, this most incredible time. Hope has come back to the planet. It has come back into you. Through you. Because of that hope within you, it is now available to anyone else who is ready to open to it. It wasn't before. John was feeling back into his Christian roots, into all those prophecies in the Bible that foretold the Messiah. They didn't understand that the Messiah was you. It's their own selves eventually. But all those prophecies, you see those prophets, the prophecies often seem strange. what the prophets said. And it's because those prophets were mostly crazy. Unhinged, you would call it. Because that was the only way back then that you could get free enough of the shame on earth to feel a little bit of your soul. You had to be crazy. There simply wasn't any other way to get through the veil other than being dead. So, but now everything has changed. Now it's possible for anyone who wants it to open up to their soul, to connect with their soul. And that is where you find your hope. Because that is where you find you. That is where you find the meaning and the purpose of everything. It's in your soul. In the knowing of who you are. And that, dear friends, that is what you have opened up. But here you are. Oh, it's a confusing time for the human. For a few reasons. One that John is aware of is that, wow, that was an intense job that I had, and now it's over. It's done. So there's like an empty place inside. So happy to be done with that job, but now, what do I do in its place? So many of you are feeling that. You thought you had worked out so much about life and about how to get your human life to go the way you wanted it. Once again, everything has changed. Oh, you have so much wisdom. You did indeed work out so much, but suddenly it's not making much sense to the human. Some of you feel like you've taken a big step backward. You're worrying. What did I miss? Did I miss this whole apocalypse thing? Am I getting it wrong yet again? No, you're not. What you're feeling is the result of having taken a giant leap forward. And you are in such new territory that it doesn't make any sense to the human. Your job now is to trust that. See, this isn't about you, the human, anymore. It is about you, the soul, you, the master self. And you see this enlightenment, this realization, whatever you want to call it, this opening up the veil. It's not just happening for you, the human, here in this time frame. It's happening for all the other 1,000 and some humans that you have been in all those other time frames. Their lives are literally changing right now because of you. But it's not your job to figure that out. You cannot get this wrong at this point. You can make yourself miserable with worry that maybe you're getting it wrong. But you cannot actually get it wrong because it's not up to you, the human, anymore. It's up to your soul, to your divinity, to your wholeness. And it's a done deal. There is no getting it wrong at this point. It's like waking up from a deep sleep. It's going to happen whether you like it or not. No matter how much you fight it, it's still going to happen. Your job right now is to let it happen. To simply be in the experience. Oh, things will change. Things will shift. Oh, you have no idea what's coming for you. So beautiful. But you have to give it time. You have to trust you. You have to trust the deeper part of you that is handling it all. It's no longer up to the human to get anything right. It's up to your soul. Simply up to you to allow that to happen, to feel what you feel. Yes, you're going to feel confused. You're going to feel very confused in the days and weeks, a few months to come. Going to feel so confused. Don't take that as a failure because it isn't. It's just the human doesn't understand this new reality within which you're living. It will. But your soul does understand. Your soul is working it out. It might look like things in your life are falling apart. They're not. They're just changing. Changing to match the new you. Allow that change. Don't panic. Don't go start doing something that you can't stand just because you don't see how else things are going to work out. They're going to work out anyway, but that's going to make you hurt a lot. So, take a breath. Feel your divinity. It's right here. Like never before, you have direct access to it. It doesn't always come in words. Usually it just comes in feelings. You get caught up in the mind and the human stuff, and you feel like you've disconnected. There's something else you're getting wrong. You haven't. You just got into the human experience. Just take a breath. Your divinity is right here. You cannot get disconnected from it. Ever again. You cannot. Part of the problem is you think you have to somehow connect with your divinity. And in the past, that was true. Or it seemed true. It's not true anymore. How can you connect with something that you are? You can't. It's already done. All you have to do is take a breath. Remember that you already are your divinity. There is no longer any separation between you and your divinity, whether your human can feel that in the moment or not. And you know that to be true, because you do feel it in a lot of moments. So your job right now is to trust you, all of you. Trust your divinity, your soul, your master self. It's right here. It is you. It's looking at you in the mirror. And every moment. It's here. You cannot be disconnected ever again. We want you to hear that. We want John to hear that. You cannot be disconnected from your divinity ever again. No matter how your human feels in the moment. That will pass. It always passes. You truly cannot ever again be disconnected from your soul. From who you truly are, from the knowing and the wisdom of the God that you are. Just take a breath and look in the mirror. It's right there. Take a breath and feel it in yourself. It's right there. It is you. If you're not finding it, it's because you're looking for something outside. It's you. It is there. And so it is.